Hello everyone and welcome to Great Deltan. A few videos ago one of my viewers asked me in the comments if I'd do a show around sort of tour of my storage and my wiring. Now I've done a power and control video sometime in the past, but that was way last year, so everything's changed since then. So I thought what I'd just do is give a full tour of everything non-directly associated with the layout. So to start with, long-term viewers of the channel will know that I live in a static home, and the layout is based in the shed. So the static home is just plugged into a meter box, sort of like a camping pitch, on a 16 amp commando plug. That is on a 32 amp MCB, and then the shed is fed off the actual fuse board in the van from a 16 amp MCB. From there I've just installed a garage fuse board in the shed, which has got some MCBs in for the light sockets and the heater. The heater is just a tube heater, what you get in a greenhouse, which reduces the condensation in the summer and the winter, prevents any dew dripping down the roof and onto the layout. Now the actual baseboard was built with very little knowledge in mind. I did start this August 2019, so I wasn't the best at building baseboards. I had two kitchen units from IKEA and a worktop spare, so I thought I'd integrate the baseboard into that, and all the other wood is just spare from a previous layout I was working on. Ooh, spider. A previous layout I was working on to be a portable layout. So it's built with 12mm MDF, and the frame is just 2x3 softwood, which I got from Homebase. It's not a bad structure, but there is a few areas where it slopes, mainly because I've used MDF and I've probably not supported it in as many places as I should have. Onto the shed. The shed is just a single skin metal shed, so that's why we get quite a few element issues with rain and moisture. The actual the size of the shed is 10 by 8, but that's actually the size of the roof span. The interior size is roughly 9 by 7, which is the size of the layout as it hugs the perimeter of the shed. On for lighting, I've got 4 LED battens, which I got from Homebase. They're all wired in parallel into my fuse board, and they provide a good amount of light. That light there above this scenery area is on a chain. I lower it for taking photographs and videos, and then I can hang it back up for when I'm just working on the layout or just having a running session. Take a quick look under the layout now. We've got Henry, which is incredibly useful. From that point, his hose can reach all areas of the layout, so I can reach anywhere to Hoover without having to get him out of there. There used to be a mini fridge there until the girlfriend robbed that for inside, but I got Henry out of that deal, which is a good Hoover. Down here is just some tools, nothing really railway associated down here. We move round, and then we've got my shelf with my bits. It's not particularly well organised. We've just got scenery and various bits. We've got all the glues, adhesives, soldering iron, some tools, tape, got paints in there, all my layout tools and modelling things. Got a big pile of brick sheets and plastic cards, textured sheets, some more paints at the back there. It's hard to see, but this shelf is actually made out of an old diorama which I was building. Moving around from there, we've got nothing interesting in the corner, just some more tools. The shed bin, I have all my rubbish in, which is just a plastic box, and then these two cupboards are filled with tools, so there's nothing in there, and then all my stock stays in this drawer and this drawer. That should have a towel on it as well. I use a towel because sometimes the rain can come in and it comes through small holes in the layout which I've drilled for lighting, and also it protects it and insulates it a bit from the elements. Down there is my air compressor, which I use for airbrushing. That's just stored in the middle of the shed. Got some more tools, and then we've got this box of random bits. Don't ask me what's in there. It's just things like decoders and bits of scenery, buildings, lights, some people. Just bits and pieces really. There's no particular organisation to this, it's just a box of things. Probably should sort it out at some point, but I'm not too fussed really. So on to the actual control of the layout now. We've got this extension lead which runs from this socket here, which is almost permanently plugged in. So right to left, that is my DR5000 by DigiKes. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. That's quite a recent upgrade. Before I was using a Hornby Select, but I couldn't program several decoders, and the functions on it were basically very limited. So I decided to upgrade and buy one of these, recommended to me by Nick at Raw One Model Railways. It's very good. I finally have a programming track. That's one feature I couldn't have with the Select. So this is my programming track. The wire just go there, and then coming out of there we've got my DCC bus. It used to just go to that point over there. That's why the wires are directed over there. But now they come around and then they follow this absolute maze of wires all the way around the layout, and they terminate just here. I'm not too fussed about crimping or insulating the ends. They don't touch, so not too bad. Next we have the lighting circuit. I'll come back to that in a sec because that's a quite detailed explanation. And then this is for my capacitor discharge unit for my point motors, which just sits under there. That's by Gauge Master. So all my points are operated manually by these 4 switches. I only have 4 points on the layout. These are for my sidings for my station, well, the platforms, the bay platforms, and then we've got the point which allows a train to turn out onto the branch line. When I first built the layout, obviously I was very inexperienced, and I laid all the track without any dropper wires. I just relied on the conductivity from the fish plates. Over time these have degraded, deteriorated, and I get a lot of dead points, so I did add droppers in the end to every piece of track that I could. I think the only pieces that don't have any droppers are in that tunnel, which the fish plates are soldered on that side and where they come out of the tunnels. So hopefully I'll never have any issues like I have with the branch line area. As there were some dead pieces of track under there, I couldn't access them because the branch line was built over it, so that ended up getting ripped up, and now that's a new area under construction. So on to lighting. Initially when I planned the layout I didn't have any considerations for lighting. I don't think I'd be doing it, but I was inspired and now I love adding lights. So this is a 12 volt DC 5 amp power supply from Amazon. That goes into this connector block down here, and then I've got a common and a negative. The common goes into these 4 switches here, which are my distribution switches. So I've got this, which does the station lights, this one which does the town lights, this one which does the lights over that area of the layout and the farm, and then this one which is for my signals and my buffer stops. I've got room for one more for when I complete this area. That will be for the lighting over there. So all these wires are a massive mess. There's no particular organisation or containment for these, they're just all over the place. Especially under here, it's an absolute rat's nest. Nothing I planned, I just keep adding lights, and I'm just not particularly good at any organisation of wires, so they're just sort of all over the place. Copper tape, resistors, solder, wires everywhere. All of the lampposts in the station and on this kitchen worktop, I have had to put them all underneath here for routing, so there's quite a lot of wires under here as well. They're all taped up out the way so they don't get caught on the jaw when I open it. Back to the control quickly. I use an iPad with the program on it. I can't remember what it's called now. Again, recommended to me by Nick. I will one day get a handset, but at the minute the iPad is quite sufficient for all I do, as I only ever run 3 trains at once. There's no automation, so quite happy with that. Point motors, I use the Pecco surface mounted ones. A couple of reasons for this. Number one is my baseboard is way too thick with the kitchen worktop to allow for under baseboard point motors. And secondly, I got these as a large track bundle when I bought a load of track to start my N-gauge collection, so I thought I'd just use them. I've disguised them as well as I can as line side huts. This drop-off zone does lift out, and therefore I do need a connection for lighting to be removable, and that's what this little plug's here for. So I can just take that out, and then those lights will go off and I can take that section out. I have that section removable so I can get to the track for cleaning, as like I say, this shed is rather open to the elements and the track does get quite dirty. For track cleaning I just use this Pecco abrasive rubber, which I've had since I started the N-gauge collection. For wheel cleaning I use this Gauge Master brass brush cleaner, it's not too bad, and then I go over it with a white spirit and cotton buds for just an extra cleaning. For anybody who's wondering what I use to film my videos with, I am using a Sony FDR AX53. I used to use my iPad, but due to the frame rate interfering with the frequency of the lights, it got numerous ripple effects, which makes it look like I was watching a 1980s VHS on pause. Also the zoom wasn't great, but now this camera is far better and I can zoom on all these little details and it's incredibly clear. The camera was expensive, but the video quality is much improved and I can obviously use the camera for other things than the railway. So thank you for watching. This has just been a quick tour as requested by one of the viewers. Hope you've enjoyed it and got a few ideas from it if you need any, or just have a better idea of how the layout is powered, controlled, and how everything is laid out other than actual tracks. So thanks for watching, see you next time, and bye bye.